I'm going to learn real-time operating systems. I bought the book, but I haven't read it yet. Would you like to ask me what I'm going to build? Hello, KitchenMishap here. So carrying on with my Amiga project, I just thought I'd do some stock taking. I'm going to have a go at building a diagnostic gadget that you plug into the side of an Amiga 500 to see what's going on inside. So let's go and have a look. Over here we've got some things that I've already got, some bits and pieces, and over here we've got some bits and pieces that I've bought. So first of all, we've got a breadboard. So there's little holes 0.1 inch apart. You plug in components or wires, and they're in little rows of 5, and each row of 5 is connected together. I bought a jump wire kit. Got some 10k resistors, so those are useful for pull-ups. A multimeter. What's good about this is from when I had a camper van. So we've got various connectors. We've got things for plugging in and crocodile clips. Lots of bits and bobs in there. Very useful. Perhaps I should have shown this first to get it out of the way. It's an old cassette recorder. Cassette player, sorry, my mistake. So in the previous episode I talked about graphic equalizers and how actually you don't want graphic equalizers because they distort the square shape of the signal. So this has got a 4-band graphic equalizer, so it's not going to be much use. And anyway, we're working with an Amiga which doesn't use tape for data, so that can go down there somewhere. This was the digital recorder that I didn't use for the last episode because it's a Zoom H4n, and I put some batteries in it and it didn't work. So I think it's got some leaky battery syndrome. Here we've got, this is just a convenience. It's a Remarkable 2. It's a handy notepad thing. Just secretly typing my password. And there's a little diagram that my niece has drawn me. But you get to write notes and keep them along with loads of other pages, and it means you haven't got loads of scraps of paper everywhere. So that's a Remarkable 2. I got my value out of there. I've had that several years, and got plenty of use out of it. But having said that, I've got this Kindle thing here. So this is one of the newer Kindles. I think it's called Kindle Scribe. Yes, so this is the book I've bought for real-time operating system programming with Zephyr. Zephyr. But this does the same thing as the other one. It's a Kindle, so you read books. But also, if I remember how to use it somewhere, And there's another diagram from my niece. But I've also drawn things in here and made notes and so on. But so I'm thinking of moving from the Remarkable to the Kindle Scribe. This is handy because you get big pages of your books. So that's handy. And also you might be able to detect it actually lights up. So it's got a backlight, which is handy. We've got a book. This is the old 68000 Motorola manual, because of course the Amiga used a 68000 as its main processor. So it's handy to have that. And then the last thing on that table is just a few more jumper wires. That's what I had already, but getting excited about this project, obviously I'll spend a bit of money. So we'll go through to this table and we'll look at how much I've spent. I'll move the camera across to this table. So once again, I'll whiz through the things that we don't need. So cassette, we're not doing cassettes. Cassette player, I spent £4 on that, and it was on the off chance because it was spare parts, or it said it was untested, but of course that meant it didn't work. I did open it up and turn a few spindles and get them unseized up, and it hums, but the tape doesn't go round. So maybe the old classic recapping electrolytic capacitors that need replacing. It's old enough that they're easy to replace. So I may have a go at that, but that's a different project. And once again, for a different project, we have a slightly more modern tape recorder. Spent £20 on that, but that's for another project. That's for the OIC, so we don't need that. Another tape recorder. This I managed to get for about £10, and it's actually got a built-in USB interface. So the idea was you take all your old tapes, all your music tapes, and turn them into MP3s. But I thought it'd be useful for capturing backups of computer games and stuff like that. But again, that is for the OIC, so it's a different project. So I'll put that to one side. A USB sound card. What did I pay for that? I know, I'll look it up. Don't need that, that's for the OIC. USB app capture card, probably don't need that at all. So that is a good idea to go back and save me some money. What we got now? A couple of stereo to dual mono cables. Again, that's for the OIC. The OIC book is obviously for the OIC, so that goes to one side. I think I paid about 20 quid for that, but the OIC Atmos version is currently going about £150. So maybe I can make a profit, I don't know, or maybe I just want to keep it. This is interesting. This was a tenner. It's a video editor for Windows XP. And I have managed to get hold of a Windows XP machine, which fresh installed with Windows XP on a refurbed PC. And the idea was get hold of some old software, save myself from paying all these subscriptions that we pay for these days. That is a mono to phono adapter for the cassette recorder. That's an OIC project. Right, so that's got rid of all the stuff that is just for the OIC. And now we get into some relevant stuff. So this here, and these are hard to get hold of. It wasn't expensive, but it is very important for my project. It is an 86-pin edge connector, so that goes onto the PCB in the side of the Amiga. So it's a little cover that comes off, and you plug that into the PCB. So that's the edge connector, and then that gives. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, we'll see if this fits. So the idea was, we've got this other thing here, this thing called a T cobbler. So it's a gadget in the shape of a T. It's got these pins on it, and the idea is, so those pins go onto your breadboard, something like that, and they all fit nicely. and the other end is again 0.1 inch spacing sockets, 40 pins. Now this is going to be interesting because I presumed that this, well, you can see they're different sizes, so I knew it wasn't long enough. This 40 pin one is an IDE connector, which is used for hard drives, old hard drives. So it's in a square array with 0.1 inch either way. Does it fit? Whilst they're, I think, 0.1 inch. Okay, so they're 0.1 inch, but they're not 0.1 inch between the two rows. My plan is slightly scuppered. It doesn't work. On top of that, I was thinking I could plug it into part of the connector, and I'm going to have to shave away some of the plastic here because the plastic goes in one side, but the plastic gets in the way of the pins on the other side. So I've got some thinking to do. Yeah, but the idea was that plugs into the side of the Amiga, that plugs into that, and then the ribbon cable goes into my T-cobbler, which is actually a Raspberry Pi thing. It's designed for a 40 pin cable for a Raspberry Pi, so it's actually got lots of labels of what all the various signals do. But I'd have to cover those up because of course my signals will be from an Amiga, so there'll be different names, and then that would go onto there like that, plug into the Amiga, but it doesn't fit. So I've got two of them because they're hard to find. So I thought I'll pick them up while I can because I found them. Here we've got another 40 pin cable, nice and pretty, colourful. But I went for the shorter IDE version because this will be better for avoiding electromagnetic interference, because this long wires act rather like aerials antenna. Got another one of them just because they came in a pack of two. Right, here we've got a cable that goes from the D-type on a Amiga into a SCART for your television. That's a 23 pin D-type, but if you look closely, they've had to botch it because 23 pin ones are hard to come by these days. They were used for the Amiga, but nothing much since. So this is a Raspberry Pi Pico. I think that's going back because that wasn't such a good idea, because this was going to be my microcontroller that sits on my breadboard and plugs in, but it uses 3.3 volts levels, whereas the Amiga is 5 volts. So I'd have to use lots of level converters to convert between the digital signals. So I'll probably send that back, get some money back for that. Here's another thing I'm sending back. This is an Arduino R4 Minima. So that's the chip that I was going to use to program my real-time operating system onto and do my programming on. But I changed my mind, so that's going back to get some money back. So I've gone for this one, which is the Wi-Fi version, so I can make it give me a little web page so we can control the thing. Okay, and that is everything that I've bought and had originally. Well, it's not everything, and perhaps in another video I'll talk about the Amiga 600, which I'm selling, show you that working. The Amiga 500 has just arrived, still in its box, and we'll think of a first challenge to get actually something working, which I think will be just plugging this into a modern computer with a USB cable. It's got USB-C there, and just get that programmed up so it presents a little web page over Wi-Fi. It's also got LEDs on it in a grid, so you can put a little you can put something there. So there's things I could do with that and prove that this is working without the Amiga, without the breadboard, and just to get started, and that'll be fun. And that might take some time, who knows? I haven't done real-time operating systems yet. No. Okay, so we're running out of time with the camera. So thank you. I'll say goodbye.